Love the Ravens as much as we do? Then smash that subscribe button and stay locked in with Flock News for all the drama, updates, and excitement all season long. BOURNE confirms his arrival at the Ravens, and the buzz around the NFL world is already spinning out of control. It is not every day that a wide receiver with Bourne's charisma, locker room presence, and proven productivity decides to make a bold move that could reshape the balance of power in the AFC. Fans in Baltimore are waking up to a brand new reality, one that adds yet another weapon to an offense that was already versatile and threatening under Lamar Jackson. The rumor mill had been active for weeks, whispering about late-night phone calls, coded Instagram posts, and cryptic tweets, but now there is no more guessing. Bourne himself has confirmed it, sending Ravens Nation into a wave of excitement that feels almost like playoff energy in the middle of the year. It is not just about a player signing with a team. It is about timing, strategy, and what message the Ravens are sending to the rest of the league. With each move the front office makes, it becomes clearer that Baltimore is not content with simply competing. They are aiming to dominate, to innovate, and to seize the spotlight in a way that leaves opponents scrambling. For those who have followed Kendrick Bourne's journey, this moment feels like the culmination of persistence and faith. Undrafted back in 2017, he carved out his place in the league with grit, effort, and an ability to step up in crucial moments, whether it was with the 49ers or during his stint in New England. He was never the loudest star in the room, but he became the kind of player coaches love, dependable, hardworking, and always ready to adapt to whatever role was needed. The Ravens have long admired this type of personality, one that meshes with a culture built on resilience and accountability. It is easy to see why they made their move now, especially at a time when depth at wide receiver is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. Lamar Jackson has often faced criticism that he does not have enough weapons around him, and critics have tried to diminish his passing game because of it. But imagine Jackson launching passes to Bourne while still keeping defenses honest with Mark Andrews and a dynamic backfield. Suddenly the narrative shifts, and the offense feels less predictable, more multidimensional, and infinitely more dangerous. The confirmation of Bourne's arrival has also sparked endless debates across social media, sports shows, and even among former players. Some argue this could be the missing piece, the steady presence who could be a chain mover on third downs, someone who brings energy without ego. Others believe it is more symbolic, a sign that the Ravens are finally taking aggressive steps to surround Lamar with weapons that match his MVP-level talent. Baltimore's identity has always leaned heavily on defense and ground-and-pound football, but in recent years, there's been a visible transformation into a team willing to evolve. Bourne represents that evolution, an acknowledgement that the modern NFL demands versatility at the skill positions, and that you cannot lean solely on one star to carry an entire unit. For Bourne himself, the fit feels almost poetic, a player overlooked at first, now aligning with a franchise that often thrives when underestimated. His signing may not carry the fireworks of a blockbuster trade, but those who understand football recognize the subtle brilliance here. Sometimes the quiet moves, the ones tucked beneath the spotlight, end up being the most impactful when it truly matters. Even the way Bourne confirmed his move added fuel to the growing drama. It was not through an official press conference or a heavily edited highlight reel, but rather through words that carried authenticity and simplicity, the kind that fans cling to because they feel real. In a digital world where athletes are constantly building brands, KENDRICK chose to deliver the news in a way that spoke to his grounded personality. That authenticity resonates deeply in Baltimore, a city that prides itself on grit and loyalty. You can already sense the fan base embracing him, imagining chants of his name echoing through M&T Bank Stadium on crisp Sunday afternoons. Coaches will talk about playbooks and schemes, but what cannot be measured is the emotional spark a player like Bourne can ignite within a locker room and a stadium full of believers. Confirmation is one thing. The ripple effect it creates is another entirely. Suddenly, every preseason prediction shifts a little. Every AFC North opponent pays closer attention, and every Ravens fan dares to dream bigger, bolder, louder. That is the power of a single signing when it arrives at precisely the right moment in a team's journey. The Ravens' offensive coordinator must already be sketching out new formations, imagining Bourne lined up in the slot, on the outside, and even in motion to create mismatches. His versatility has always been his calling card, and that adaptability allows coaches to get creative. Imagine a defense already stretched thin, trying to account for Andrews over the middle, Lamar's legs outside the pocket, and now Bourne darting across zones with precision routes. It becomes less about stopping one player and more about surviving the avalanche of options. Baltimore fans have been yearning for this kind of layered attack, something that keeps defenses guessing rather than keying in on one predictable play. Bourne may not lead the league in catches, but his impact will be measured in moments. The key third down conversion, the clutch catch to extend a drive, the emotional lift of a touchdown at the right time. Football is not just about numbers. It is about momentum, energy, and belief, and Bourne has a history of delivering those intangible sparks. His arrival might be the difference between a team that hopes and a team that truly believes destiny is within reach. Now the question becomes, what does this mean for the AFC North, one of the toughest and most unforgiving divisions in football? The Bengals, Browns, and Steelers have all reloaded in different ways, but the Ravens now look like the team that has shifted momentum in their favor. Rival fans will downplay the significance, but deep down, they know this changes the equation. Rivalry games are often decided by small edges, one extra playmaker, one unexpected performance, and Bourne could easily become that hidden advantage. The chatter around training camp will only intensify, with beat reporters dissecting every route he runs, every connection he builds with Lamar, every smile exchanged on the practice field. Rumors will swirl about his role, about how quickly he picks up the system, about whether this chemistry could explode into something unstoppable. The beauty of football lies in this unpredictability. One off-season move can ripple into an entire season narrative. Bourne has confirmed his arrival, and in doing so, he has injected a fresh storyline into a league that thrives on stories, rivalries, and the thrill of the unknown. Baltimore, for now, holds the microphone, and the rest of the division has no choice but to listen. There's already a sense that Kendrick Bourne's move to Baltimore could become one of those underrated off-season decisions people look back on as a turning point. Some insiders are whispering that this was not just a matter of football strategy, but also a cultural choice by the Ravens. They are known for identifying players who embody the city's spirit. Hardworking, loyal, gritty, and Bourne checks those boxes effortlessly. The locker room has missed a voice like his, someone who can rally teammates without forcing himself into the spotlight. Rumor has it that some veterans on the roster were quietly lobbying the front office to bring in a wideout who could balance talent with personality, someone who elevates everyone rather than disrupts chemistry. When Bourne confirmed his arrival, it wasn't only the fans celebrating. There was genuine relief among players who know how draining an NFL season can be without the right kind of energy in the building. People around the league say, this is the move that makes Baltimore more dangerous, not only on the field, but in terms of morale, and morale is often what separates contenders from pretenders when December and January roll around. What makes this story even more intriguing is the timing. Bourne is coming off a season interrupted by injury, a year where his value seemed to dip in the eyes of some executives. That makes the Ravens' decision feel even more deliberate, as though they saw potential others were too cautious to touch. Some skeptics are already saying this could be a gamble, that a player with a recent setback might not deliver at the level Baltimore needs. But those who know Bourne's mindset argue otherwise. They say the setback only fueled his hunger, and that he has been preparing with a level of intensity people outside his circle don't realize. Whispers from training partners describe a receiver who looks sharper than ever, cutting with precision, attacking workouts like a man with something to prove. That hunger, combined with Baltimore's culture, is exactly what could make this signing explode into one of the stories of the season. Sometimes, rumors are just noise, but in this case, they might be the first signs of a storm that will sweep through the AFC. The narrative surrounding Lamar Jackson has always been that he needs more help, that the franchise owes him weapons to match his unique skill set. With Bourne's confirmation, that conversation is already shifting. Analysts are now speculating whether this is just the beginning of a larger offensive overhaul, one that could finally silence critics who question Lamar's arm. Some voices suggest that Bourne could be the key to unlocking plays that have been sitting in the playbook and used, waiting for the right piece to make them work. Defenses that once stacked the box daring Lamar to throw might now hesitate, unsure of whether they can afford to leave Bourne unchecked. The rumor bubbling within media circles is that the Ravens are preparing to unveil offensive wrinkles we have not yet seen, concepts designed around Bourne's versatility and ability to read defenses. That speculation alone has fueled excitement beyond Baltimore, because when the Ravens innovate, the entire league takes notice. Suddenly, preseason predictions feel outdated, and whispers about a deep playoff run no longer sound like wishful thinking. They sound like a forecast. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. But of course, there's always skepticism, and skepticism is part of what makes these rumors so captivating. Some pundits argue that Bourne's signing has been overhyped, that he is not a #1 receiver and cannot transform an offense by himself. They claim Ravens fans are letting emotions carry them away, attaching too much significance to a player who has never been a consistent Pro Bowler. Yet, if you listen closely to the conversations happening behind the scenes, you will hear another perspective. That is not about Bourne being the singular star, but about him being the connective tissue in an offense that already has stars. Lamar does not need one dominant receiver. He needs balance. He needs someone to keep drives alive, someone defenses cannot ignore. That is where Bourne fits. Critics can argue about labels and numbers, but football is a game of roles, and the whispers around the Ravens suggest they have found a role for Bourne that will make the entire machine hum more smoothly. Doubt him if you want, but many insiders believe the skepticism will age poorly once the season unfolds. The locker room dynamic is another layer fueling speculation. Players talk, and players leak hints, and some of those hints suggest Bourne has already made an impression even before fully stepping onto the practice field. Teammates reportedly admire his energy, the way he greets everyone, the positivity he spreads in simple interactions. In a sport where chemistry can collapse a season as quickly as injuries, this intangible quality matters more than statistics. The whispers suggest that the Ravens were intentional in targeting someone who would not just catch passes, but also lift spirits, guide younger players, and keep tension from boiling over during rough stretches. If true, this is a signing that goes beyond numbers. It is a signing about identity. Baltimore is trying to write its next chapter, and having someone like Bourne as part of the story ensures that chapter is not just competitive but cohesive. Rumors of his leadership presence being just as valuable as his route running are starting to spread, and they may end up being the real secret weapon for a team chasing a Super Bowl. As the dust settles on the confirmation, the league-wide chatter refuses to slow down. Every move the Ravens make is now viewed through the lens of Bourne's arrival, and speculation about his role continues to multiply. Will he become Lamar's safety blanket on third downs? Will he be the spark in red zone situations? Will his influence off the field be as significant as his production on it? These are the questions filling sports talk shows, Twitter threads, and locker room debates. The beauty of the NFL is that answers will only come when the season begins, but the rumors are already shaping expectations. One thing is certain: Bourne's decision to confirm his arrival did not just add a player to a roster. It ignited a narrative that could define Baltimore's season. And whether he turns into the unsung hero or the centerpiece of a playoff push, his name will be in constant circulation, carried on the wave of speculation that only grows stronger when fans, media, and players alike sense that something bigger is brewing in Baltimore. For now, all we can do is watch, wait, and wonder. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.